To talk about this, crucial skills for attunement. So what is attunement? Attunement is, it's such an important process in developing safety and intimacy and health between two people. It's a mammal thing. It's very mammalian. So every mammal does it. Attunement, you're just you're attuned. You're tuned in to the other. It's really beyond your language. It's about you're synced up. Okay, so this process has started for you ideally when you were a little baby. When you're a teeny weeny little baby, you're just all lizard brain. You are just 100% survival. That is normal. That is developmentally healthy. Then your mammalian brain, which is more of your limbic area, your emotions, develop later, and they develop based on your environment, based on your caregiver. So they're like talking to you, they're cooing at you, they're like, oh, la la la, blah 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 blah, and make facial expressions. You know how babies will start to mimic your facial expressions. They are beginning their skills of attunement. Okay, so I feel safe with you, like you mirror me, you match me, we're kind of, like I move this way and so do you. Does this make sense? Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Making sense so far? And we need attunement. We start building those skills very early on as babies. But those are just that's the foundation set for the rest of your life in building relationship. Now, of course, if there was trauma early on, yeah, attunement can be a struggle at first. You always have the skills, okay? It's always in your body, so you can always learn it on a new foundational level, okay? So don't worry about that. And nobody had a perfect upbringing either. I can't remember which trauma expert said it, but one of the trauma experts, one of our leading experts of our time, said, all you needed was a good enough parent. Okay, so we're not striving for perfection here. All you needed was a good enough upbringing. Okay, so, and I'll go back real quick and answer questions and things in a sec. Makes sense? So that is attunement. So in time, what brought this up for me, let me find a place to sit. Dry place to sit. There we go. I told you guys in the past couple of weeks, this time for my husband and me has been a lot. It's been a little more stressful in a good way, but in a way that does create stress. Like we're going through a lot of transition, like it's all career stuff, like it's exciting. It's beautiful, it's magical, but it is a lot. And so stress levels increase and your attunement can suffer because you've gone a little bit more lizard brain. Does that make sense? So you can lose attunement. So what brought this up for me is that we've had, a few really, really great intimate moments that really built our intimacy. And it occurred to me, okay, there's two really important skills here that we need to know about. Okay, so before I get to that, let me look up and see any questions about attunement. Good morning. Awesome. Hi, Christina. Right. Yeah, so talking about your partner being in your head, absolutely. That's started to happen with Garrett and me. Like one of us would be in our head, and when you're in your head, you're in a survival mode. Okay, you've escaped your body and you're in survival. Okay, so then you lose attunement with the other. All of a sudden you're not there with the other, which creates feelings of unsafety on a primal level. Okay, the primal level is important. Okay, fully on board, good, yes. Yes, attunement comes so naturally to us, yes. Since we're hardwired for connection, absolutely. Yep, yep, exactly. We are resilient, we are built for this. Okay, so we can always relearn the skills. So again, even if you've had trauma in your upbringing in a way that really messed with your attunement, you're hardwired for connection. Okay, you can always relearn this skill. Okay. So 2 skills that really, really matter. Okay. Number 1, naming while you're in a conversation with your partner or whoever it is, just in relationship. If you feel off in any way, not tuned in, you've all of a sudden left the building emotionally, name that in the moment. Name it in the moment. Okay, I'm going to give you a beautiful example of this. Beautiful. So it was a couple of weeks ago, and my husband and I, we were on the couch talking about something. Like I was deep diving and telling him about something really important. And then he said, wait, can I just pause? Can we pause for a sec? And we were already in attunement, so that didn't throw me. If that makes sense, we were already attuned, so that felt like, yeah, sure, like what's going on. Sometimes when that happens, if you're not attuned, that can throw you deeper into lizard brain and disconnection. It was so happened we were already attuned, so I said, yeah, what's going on? He said, I just really want to name something here. Like I was talking about my business stuff and like how it's just going, it's like, oh, I'm living my dharma, like this is the most amazing thing. And I was talking about logistical things. And I can't remember details because it's been a few weeks now, but he named some things that were coming up for him around jealousy. Okay. Now, of course, that's not his wise self, but they were feelings that popped up, you know, in his lower half of the brain. He said, okay, I just really want to name, because he said, I want to name it because I don't want to get caught up and disconnect from you in any way. I just want to name it to get it out. Like that just popped up in the archives, you know, former, like his own stuff. Does that make sense? Just like your own stuff just comes up, your old conditioning, your old wounds, they're going to come up always in relationship. It's just how you navigate it and how you handle it. So I just really want to just name that, get it out of the way, and just name that that's a feeling that came up for me. I said, thank you so much. Did not take that personally. There, you know, it's these are all such natural. He did shadow work right there too. I want to point that out and highlight that. That's shadow. And then we were already attuned, but then we were even more attuned. I said, oh honey, thank you so much for naming that. And that what that did was clear energetic space, so then he could just be right there with me. And I'm sure what happened, again, details are a little fuzzy at this point, but I'm sure what happened is we finished talking about me and then we talked about his stuff a little bit. Okay? But it was beautiful, and I've done that with him many times. And we've done that with each other many, many times. Name what's showing up in the moment, because if you don't, if you're talking with somebody and an old wound comes up, you're gonna drift off. You're gonna either get in your head, especially if you let it fester and let it sit there. Old skills can really start to take over, and that's why he named it, because he didn't want that to happen. He didn't want to shrink away from me and crawl away. He wanted to stay with me. So he just named it. Right? And so the risk of not doing that is you become misattuned. You get in your head. You get deep down into your wounding, and not a healing, let's get it out of the way in an old way. Is this making sense? You make room for any questions about this one. Yes. Good? Make sense? Feel good? Okay. So important. Just name the thing. Okay, so, okay, wanted to tune in to give you a little bit more context. You know, growing up, you know, again, back to we don't have perfect childhoods. And I grew up a lot of the time, and the adult people around me weren't saying what they really meant. That was my natural world. And because of that, I became incredibly anxious. Because raise your hand if you can relate, I'm also an empath and I'm highly sensitive. I can tell when somebody's not with me. You know, and we have to learn to exercise some energetic boundaries, not to get all up in other people's beeswax too, okay? And that's for another Savage Mondays. But even if you're not highly sensitive or an empath, you're also a human. You're a human mammal, so you can tune in and tell, like, ooh, something's off here. Like, I would encounter people being mad at me, but not saying anything. Saying one thing, really feeling another way. So it didn't matter what the adult people said, I was feeling something different. And so as a child, you automatically will question self. You don't have that CEO brain that is only fully online around age 27 yet to discern, hey, maybe it's this dude's issue and not mine. Okay, you're always going to find the fault in self. Developmentally, that's just how it works. So when I started to do my healing work, what I absolutely required and still require in my intimate relationships now with friends, with my partner, I'm redoing this work with my mother and she is coming on board, which is beautiful. Redoing ancestral patterns. But what I require is, you know, I tell people it hurts far worse when you just don't tell me the thing. Tell me the thing, because then at least we're attuned. Yeah, that's exactly why I teach this stuff, you all, because that I know the profound hurt that happens when people aren't telling you things. Later in life, you know, I would have friends who would do the exact same thing. Who would keep things hidden out of fear, and this is other people's codependency stuff. Okay, my family of origin, ton of codependency, and there was a lot of codependency in my adult relationships too. You cannot want to tell somebody the real stuff out of fear of losing them, hurting them. I get it, I've been there myself. Okay, but what I got to tell people further into my healing is that please just tell me. Tell me when things pop up. Tell me when you're mad, when you're upset, when just shadow stuff pops up. Because then I can handle, you know, we're resilient. That stuff's not going to break me. Excuse me. I also have some fall allergies. But attunement is the important thing. So just say the stuff. Okay, any questions about this? La, la, la. Yes, let's see. Okay, reading some comments here. That's why my former partner disappeared into his head so much. He's deeply traumatized and has difficult mother. Yes. His wounding came up over and over again and he was ashamed to share. Yes, exactly. So much trauma shows up here. When you're in a romantic partnership in particular, that's where your caregiver wounds really, really show up. Okay? So if you had a really traumatizing caregiver relationship, those old skills are going to take over. Right? When you do come into more closeness, those wounds are going to show up. It's just a matter of, are we going to continue to go further with each other and heal those wounds together? Or is somebody not ready or willing to do that yet? Which is usually where relationship problems and breakups happen. Yep, hearing you for sure. Yes. I stopped telling my partner what's up because he would just be accommodating and fixing right out of his codependency. Ooh, Christina, that actually gets right into my next point. Yeah, absolutely. Rescuing and fixing is also a survivor skill, and it threatens your attunement. If you're fixing, you're not attuning. So let me segue right into my next point here. When somebody, a partner, your friend, anybody, shares something with you, just pause. Pause, take a breath, And my codependency stuff, that was really hard for me. I wanted to jump in and fix and rescue because I had all my worth was tied up in that. That I need people to need me. And if I'm just being silent, people might not need me. I lose my usefulness. That's all survival. But what I was doing was not attuning with them. Okay, so just when somebody shares something with you, just pause, breathe, tune in with them. If you feel the urge to fix or rescue, you get curious about that. Before you get curious, put your hand on your chest, take a breath, and just be with them. Just be. It's attunement. Absolutely. Either you've done it or you know the feeling of what you're talking about, Christina, which is, you want to tell somebody things, but then they jump into fixing. And a lot of men hold this wound too and find their worth in, well, I have to, be the man and do and fix. But it's really just, it's a scared kid thing. It's a scared kid wound of true intimacy. Beautiful. So that's it. 2 major skills. 1, name things, emotions, and your personal experience when it comes up in the moment. And 2, leave space at the end when somebody shares something with you. And it's maybe a skill to practice if it's new for you. It's all practice. I got to practice this stuff for a long time before it became a lot more natural. But it is the most natural thing in the world to you, I promise. And when you return to that place, you'll feel how natural and easeful it really is. Because you're not operating from a wounded place, you're operating from just your authenticity. And that's the most easeful thing in the world. And when you're attuned, you'll know, because of the relationship, if they ask for your advice. Garrett, it's my partner, told me all the time, like, would you please stop trying to fix things for me? I just need you to listen. Like, shit, sorry. Like, whenever you jump to the rescue, get curious about what's happening for you. What wound is coming up there for you that you feel that you need to do that? Usually it's I'm afraid I'm going to lose this relationship wound. Okay, so get curious. Okay, but when you pause and you just are there with them and you listen with them, listen to them, you're naturally going to know. And then sometimes, he asks for my advice. But you're attuned and they're asking, and you'll know where to go from here. That makes sense. It's not mind reading. It's not that. It's attunement. Any questions with this? Questions, comments, anything showing up for you? If you want to name what's alive for you, let me know if this is resonating. Give me a head nod. Give me some hearts. Like, let me know. Yes? Any questions here? Such important stuff. Good. Okay. Good. You're so welcome. Well, I love you all so much. No Savage Mondays next Monday because I will be out of town. We are co-leading a Shadows retreat. And that's going to be amazing. And then Savage Mondays will be back the following week. I'll post about it in my stories. Thank you for joining me as always. I love sitting with all of you. Thank you so much. Again, if you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. The replay will be posted later this afternoon. Okay. Comment, and if you're watching the replay, comment and let me know what showed up for you. What questions showed up for you? How does this feel? Do you want to hear more about anything? Let me know. All right. Love you. Have a beautiful day or night, wherever you are. Love.